Quiz 1, quiz 2, midterm, assignment and final exam. I just listed them in this column. You are going to do the same. You have exactly the same table with you. Not this one, the previous figure. CLOs, this CLOs come from...
What about if we have 2 midterms?
Wait. This question was addressed to me. If you have 2 midterms, whatever you don't have, remove it and put the second midterm. If you have 10 assessment techniques, make 10 columns.
So we can add any column.
Add as many columns as you want. Remember, these headings come from your own course specification. And these CLOs come from your own course specification. Just copy and paste. Now imagine how this makes your life easy. Suppose this is the beginning of semester. Just the head of the department should request this table only. That please submit TOS table for your course. And this TOS table comes to the quality committee. Now, see, now you are preparing for your quiz. Decide how many CLOs you are going to use. 1.1, 1.2. Fine. Tick. No, I want to use 1.3 as well. Put a tick. I don't want to use any, I want to use only one. Tick 1. Got it? Now, quiz 2. Suppose you have quiz 2. How many CLOs are you going to address? This time, I am just going to address one. And this is the repetition of this one and 3.1 only. Fine, your choice. It is completely your choice to put as many tick as you want. But remember, putting a tick means you are actually committing that you are going to do this in your exam. Now look at this table. Where do you find a problem? Or not problem, where do you find issue? Any issue?
Yes, some ILOs are assessed 3 times, some twice, and some once.
Notice 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and only one time. Some of the ILOs are assessed twice. Some of the ILOs have been assessed thrice, and one only once. The problem is, if you assess it once, and suppose there is a problem, in that case you don't have anything to do afterwards, right? So normally we suggest to keep more than one. So if there is a problem, in the second you will see whether the problem is still there or not, right? Which we call reliability of your exam. Remember, test, retest, reliability. Reliability of your exam is maintained when you assess more than one time. So if this table is clear to you, your entire assessment is done. Only this table is an issue, or is not an issue, is the thing to learn. Internationally, this table is used and it is called TOS table. T-O-S. Table of specification. If TOS table is there, and if you have properly marked it for all courses, you are sure to get your CLOs assessed. Now see how we are going to do it. What I am going to do, is there any question related to this from female side or from male side? Only this table.
Just I would like to assure that we requested Dr. Usmani to take a copy of these slides and they will be posted on our website. So those concerned, and also it is videotaped and also will be posted on our website to make it easier for others.
Okay, so I hope there is no question, because it's simply copy paste. Copy CLOs, paste here. Copy learning as assessment items and paste here.
Assalamu
alaikum.
Sorry for the interruption.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Dr. Usmani, just for the CLO 4.1. So for this learning outcome, it is assessed only once in the table.
Yeah, this is what I said, that if it is assessed once, this is a problem. Right? It should be assessed more than one time.
Oh, okay.
But one more important thing, even if you have ticked it once, nobody in the world would challenge you, right? What you need to do, you need to see if the result is appropriate. You will say that this was not that significant and I just assessed it once. But it is suggested to assess at least more than one time. 2 is okay, but if you can go beyond it, that is also okay. The only thing is, one time will always or may always lead to some issues. Okay. Now, come to this one. I have just put this from this table. Notice 1.1 has 1, 2, 3 assessment. 1.1, 1.1, 1.2 and final term is not included. Quiz 2, 1.1, 3.1. Midterm 1.2, 1.3, 2.1, 2.2. See? 1.2, 1.3, 2.1, 2.2. So this is just putting it on the paper. There is no need, but in order to facilitate, even you can put it in tabular form like this. Now what to do? I am discussing an example on the screen. Then I will request you to open up the example that you have got with you for your course, and we will discuss that example all together. First of all, I have taken the example of assignment. Because assignment is something which people usually give with little reason. Like, this is important, they should do it. But if you have marked this assignment, assignment is for 2.1, 2.2 and 4.1. It means you are going to make this assignment in an organized way with specific items in the assignment. Right? You cannot give this assignment like write an essay on this. Even if you give this question as an assignment, or even if you give a piece of newspaper for translation, you cannot give it unless you break it down into these 3 domains, 2.1, 2.2 and 4.1. So how I am going to divide it? I would say, read this article, translate it first. Number 2, identify the items which are not common in English language. Suppose. Number 3, differentiate, look at the language and analyze the language of the author. Suppose this is one of your CLOs. And finally, your last point is, present your translation in the class. Why? Look at 4.1, communicate effectively. I want a student to communicate effectively. So with the translation, I gave them this. And I have already planned in this table. Right? Now, I conducted, and notice this is my assignment. I gave this exactly pointing out 2.1, 2.2 and 4.1. By the way, for the student, it is not necessary that you tell them that this is 4.1, this is 2.2, this is 2. This would be thinking within box. Thinking out of the box means that they don't need to decide whether this is cognition or analysis. Now, total marks 5. Assignment is divided into 2 or 3, and each domain has got 1 CLO. Now, what I did, this is the analysis sheet. Look at the analysis sheet.
For the assignment.
For the assignment only. Now, name of the students, Muhammad, Ahmad, Ali, Qadi, Khalid, Abdullah, Arif and Faisal. These are the students. And then for 2.1, their score, you write their score. 3, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 3, 4. And then 2, 5, etc. You just put the scores here. And then after putting the score, if you add them all together, this is in first column, I am just adding them. In Excel sheet, you just need to select and sum. Whatever the sum is, 3, 3, 6, 4, 10, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22 and 26. 26 is the total score out of 5 was maximum score for one student. How many students? 8 students. So 8 5s are 40. If everyone gets 5, maximum score will be 40. Right? But at the moment, the total is 26 out of 40. So see, 26 divided by 40 multiplied by 100. This gives us 65%. This means this CLO has been achieved up to 65%. This is one point. For the second question, the same goes. You put the score of each student, and then at the end you put the sum, divide with maximum score, multiplied by 100, which gives you percentage. Now you identify the percentage of 3 columns, right?
I have a question, please.
Yeah, please.
How about if we have more than 40 students in a class? Imagine.
100, no problem. Even 100 students are there. It is not about number of students. Excel sheet can accommodate thousands of students. So let's put the student 40. Okay. 40 comes from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 students are there. If everybody gets 5, which is the score of this question, then 8 into 5 is 40. So 40 comes from there. If there are 10 students, 10 5s are 50. If there are 20 students, 20 5s are 100. So you divide with the maximum total score only. Right?
يعني 40 في 5 إذا كان السؤال 5 درجات يعني 40 في 5 يطلع عندك مجموع ما ينبغي للجميع لو يحصلوا على الدرجة كلها أن يحصلوا عليه. 40 في 5 على يطلع عندك رد، لكن الناتج اللي يحصلوا عليه كلهم مع بعضهم هو اللي ينقسم على ما كان ينبغي أن يحصلوا عليه.
نقسم على 200 ويضرب في 100.
نعم. يحصلوا مثلا على مثلا 100 بالمفروض 200 يعني 100 على 200 ضرب.
Okay. Now, once this is done, see, I'm going back. Same table. I'm going back to the same table and I'm picking the percentage and putting it into these 3 spaces. Now see, the same table, I have picked the percentage achieved 65%, 77% achieved here, and 15% achieved here. Right? Now, notice 4.1 was not achieved. There comes the question, are we going to repeat it in the final exam? Yes, you don't have any option. You will conduct some kind of oral communication in the final exam or before final exam, and you will mark the student for this empty column, and then you will put score here as well. And then you are going to report in the course report, was there any change in the assessment plan? And you will say, yes, there was a change in assessment plan. Right? And you will put the change of assessment plan just here. Right? Did I make myself clear for this last point? In course report, there is a section and there is a question, was there any change in the assessment plan? And you will say 4.1 was not assessed or did not give desired result, and therefore it was repeated in the final exam. It was not planned, but it was repeated.
But you repeated it because of the low
Because
score.
of those scores.
But if the average is not below the 50%,
It is
the passing point, so you don't need to.
You don't need to repeat it if it is acceptable range. What is the minimum passing score for your college?
60%.
60%? That means the cutoff point is 60.
So below
Excuse me, Dr. Usmani?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, so I have a question. Say, for example, under 2.1, I have 3 or 4 questions within that CLO. How can I tabulate the percentage?
The question is, under 2.1, if there are 2-3 questions, fine. Combine the score and put it in one column. That's it. Or, if you want further analysis of the same, see, a quiz 2 can be further, the same column can be further divided into 1, 2, 3, and you write the score of each question to see if there is a consistency in questions or not. But normally, combining the score and putting it in one column is okay. For example, suppose you have 5 questions in your exam. Question 1 is related to 1.1. Question 2 is related to 1.2. And question 3 is related to 1.3. And question 4 is 1.3. Question 5 is 1.3. All are related to 1.3. Last 3 questions. Combine the score and put the total in one column. Right? So suppose one question carried 5 marks. If there are 3 questions, the total will be 15 marks. Right? Did I answer your question?
So, in this case, 3.1, if it is repeated in the final exam 3 times, so you're supposed to have like 3 markings, right?
Where?
If you have in the final exam, the CLO 3.1, you have a 3 question.
Remember, the tick will remain 1.
Okay.
You're not going to repeat 3 times tick that 3 questions will be put. That will be too mechanical.
Dr. Usmani, so did you say total or did you say average?
The total.
Okay, so you put the total.
Yeah, but total in what sense? Total of one question, total of second question, and total of third question, right? Then you combine all 3 and take an average the way we did for one question.
Excuse me, Dr. Ahmed.
Halas, okay, it's average. Okay, thank you.
Now come to another important point. If we look at this, notice how many students passed question 1. How many students passed question 1?
All of them except 1.
Except 2 or 1, yes.
1.
All of them passed except 1. Right? That means 90% student achieved this, 10% could not achieve it, or 1 student could not achieve this learning outcome. Right? Now, if you move to the next, notice this question, second 2.2 is achieved by all except 1. Right? Similarly, if you look at question number 3, which is 4.1, everybody failed except 1. That means 4.1 could not be achieved by 90%, and only 10% student or 1 student achieved out of all. So this has to be repeated. But the other 2 have been achieved, and therefore they can be repeated or cannot be repeated. But since you have already made a plan, so if you go to this, notice 1.2, as there was a question that if there are 3 questions related to 1.2, the same goes for midterm. When you conduct midterm, you repeat 1.2. When you conduct final term, you repeat 1.2. So no matter how many questions you go for, learning outcome focus will be the same. Right? Now imagine you finished your assignment. Now you move to the say midterm. Now midterm exam, you have a plan. Notice 1.2, 1.3, 2.1, 2.2. These are the 4 domains that you are going to address. Now when you are making a question paper, you need to decide, are you going to put questions according to these CLOs, or you make your exam and then put CLOs? Both are your choices. The best option is to keep it organized form. For example, suppose somebody is giving multiple choice exam, 50 multiple choice exam. If there are 50, question 1 to 10 is related to 1.1. Or let's take the example midterm. How many questions are we going to make? Suppose 60, right? Or 50. 1.2, how many questions should I make? This is my choice. Suppose 10. So question 1 to 10 is related to 1.2. Question 11 to 20, I am talking about multiple choice. 11 to 20 is related to 1.3. And 21 to 30 is related to 2.1. And 31 to 60 or 31 to 50 is related to 2.2. Now the question is, should we go for just division, like all of them 10 questions, or this is our choice? This is your choice based on the weightage of topic. If you think this is important, you can assign more questions to it. If you think this is just introductory concept, you can assign less marks to it. But there is no provision, there is no restriction that you have to keep it balanced. Now you finish this MCQs, analyzed it in group. Question 1 to 10, total score divided by maximum, how many students were there, taking an average, and then taking the percentage. Once the percentage is achieved, put this percentage into this 1.2, 1.3, 2.1 and 2.2. Now imagine, you conducted assignment, you conducted midterm, and you are just filling this table. Once the exams are finished, once you are about to submit your course report, see how easy it is to use this column, this table, and complete your course report. Let me just open that file. Oh, do you, on the female side, do you have the copy of course report? Do they have it?
Yeah.
It is sent to Ustad Hayla, Ustad Amina Matar, Ustad Abir.
Yes, we do.
You have? Okay. Let me open it on the screen as well. This is the course report. I just opened that table which is required. Now, please remember one most important thing. In some universities, they do not take a total and divide it with the maximum score. In some universities, they just take up the score of those who passed. And they take a total and they say this is the passed score and 30% student failed. So suppose there are 10 students. Out of 10, 3 passed and 7 failed. They would say 30% passed, 70% failed this learning outcome. But it is reporting of the students' individual performance. Okay. Fine. If you look at this table, point number 3, section B, question point number 3. Look at this table. The table has 3 columns. Now look at these 3 columns. List course learning outcome. Copy paste from your TOS table and paste here. List method of assessment for each CLO. Now you have CLO heading, assessment headings as well in that TOS table, right? Just pick them and put them here. And then summary analysis of assessment result for each ILO. Summary analysis. Now, let me just take an example here. This. Suppose I'm just temporarily filling it. This is quiz and final term. These are the 2 addressed in my for 1.1. Now, for quiz, the result is 65%, and for final, the result is say 78%. Right? Now, the average is around say whatever. Suppose it is 72. Average is 72. It's not accurate, but 72% suppose. Now, how you are going to analyze it? You would say learning outcome 1.1 was assessed through quiz and final term as decided in the TOS table. the result shows that the overall achievement of the students, the average achievement is 65% of all the students scored in CLO 1.1. And in the final exam, the score reached to the 78%. Which means the students have achieved, or this CLO has been achieved
Successful.
of the course. Now, however, suppose you notice that some student continuously failed and the column is straight for some students. You might discuss that some of the students could not achieve this CLO, but it was evident that this is repeated in all assessments. So they have been declared, or they are declared fail in this course. Those who failed the course could not achieve. This is one of the example analysis. Or you may restrict yourself to analysis of achievement. That's it. Pick from cross table 1.2 and then whatever assessment methodology that were used, and then put the score and then discuss. Now, suppose, let me give a last example. Suppose this is 15%. In the quiz, the score was 15%. And in the final exam, it is 78%. The question is, are we going to take an average of this? No, you're not going to take an average of that. Why? Because the average would kill the result, number one. Number two, there is no sense in taking average of this. What you're going to say, you will say, the quiz was assessed in, 1.1 was assessed in quiz. It was noted that a student could not achieve it. And the average achievement was 15%, which shows that either the teaching strategy was not a success or assessment tool was not appropriate for the students. Therefore, some interventions were carried out. Students were given additional classes, or students were given some orientation of the problems that they faced in the quiz, and later on similar questions were placed in final exam and 78% is achieved. This means this CLO has also been achieved, right? And that will be the end of your course report. If course report has all the CLO assessed, what your program committee is going to do? Look, this is very simple. If I say, give me any one PLO, one program learning outcome, and you say, the program learning outcome of English language and translation program is, at the end of the program, students will be able to, or graduates will be able to carry out translation activities, right? Graduates will be able to carry out translation activities. Now, how are we going to assess this specific PLO? I repeat, at the end of this, the student will be able to conduct independent translation. How would you get the score for this? Imagine translation 1, translation 2. These are the two courses which are directly related to this PLO. What I will do as a quality member, I would say, take the score and check the CLOs of these courses. All the CLOs which are related directly to translation, I will pick their score from course report and I will put it in PLO assessment, Program Learning Outcome Assessment. Anyway, that is not your domain. Let me just give you a quick summary. Let's begin with the summary. Should come with what we call okay. If you look at this, the summary of the entire discussion is that focus on this table, focus only on this table. The take home message, focus on this table only. And How do you prepare this table? You just copy your CLOs here, add as many lines as you want, put your assessment method from your course specification, put here, and put as many columns as you want. Once done, whenever you prepare an exam, quality committee should see if his quiz followed this or not. If his quiz followed this plan or not. Midterm followed this plan or not. And if not followed, if he added something, did he mention in the course report or not? That's it. Once you finish your exam, take the average like this. Take the average and put it into this table, and the job will be completed. Your job will be completed. And whatever quality committee wants at later stage will be their job. Now, come to this example of what has already been prepared for your context. I request you to please open this exam paper. And this is the analysis sheet. Notice, Dr. Abdul Salam has prepared 10, 15 questions. How many questions are there?
11.
11 questions are there. So he has made 11 columns, and this is actually, here we are. I have put only 3 columns, but if you look at Dr. Abdul Salam example, he has made 11 columns, and under each column he had put one question. And this is the exam paper. Now, what are you supposed to do? This is exam paper. When you prepare your exam, make it this way. Write down the question, write down the learning outcome. And what is the source of this learning outcome? The TOS table. So if you put the TOS table in your course specification and you prepare your exam, every exam, assignment, presentation, field trip, any internship, anything that you carry out in your department within the program should carry one of the course learning outcome that you are teaching. Otherwise, you are just playing with the time. Okay, so if you see this, section 1, identify all the tenses used in the sentence below. And there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions. One, two, three, four, a student has to identify the tense only, and once the score is done, the score will be transferred on the title sheet. Question 1 score is transferred on the title sheet. Similarly, question 2 or section 2, identify the tenses used in the sentence below as willingness, plan or prediction. There is a good movie on TV tonight. Yes, I know. I am going to watch it, etc. The assessment is given on the paper. The student have to put it here, and then the total score is put on the first page. The same goes for every question. There are 11 questions. Notice this is what we call, this is the final exam. And final exam has got 11 questions. And if you look at the analysis says question 1 is related to 1.1, question 2 is related to 1.2, question 3 is related to 1.1, question 4 is related to 1.3, and then question 5 2.2, question 6 1.3, etc. This, under each question, learning outcome is listed. He has put the score, total, question total, grand total, and then percentage of achievement is 50%, 60%, 43%, and 70%, etc. Now, notice 43 means could not achieve. Now, it is not achieved in the final exam, but see, if it was achieved in the previous exams, it means you can say that some of the students could not understand it. Right? Now, based on this, after this analysis, it will be easy for all of you to put it into course report. Like example given here, final exam result is available, compute it and done. Transfer it along with midterm and quiz. Now, there are a few things that you need to understand before you start practicing this. Number one, make the toss table. But now think carefully. Are you ready to give too many exams? Because too many exams means too much analysis. This is number one. So in some universities, what the faculty do, they choose only 2 or 3 assessment methods. Quiz, midterm, final term, that's it. Or quiz, yes, these 3 are the minimum. If you want to extend quiz, midterm, assignment and final term. Right? Only 3 or 4. If you choose to go for more, that is your choice. This is number one. Number two, don't try to do it for all courses in one shot. You cannot do it. To be honest, you cannot do it in one shot. Start with one course. Start with one course, implement it, see the problem that you are facing, come to the committee, discuss it with them, and once you are satisfied, replicate it. But if you try to do it for all courses, that is not going to be possible. Number one. Number two. Number three. Try to make toss table for all courses. All courses. Regardless of whether you conduct assessment or not. But please make sure, once you start doing it, personally telling you, your college or your program is not the only one. In medicine, they are doing it. In dentistry, they are doing it. They are scientific colleges. But all of the engineering programs are required to do it, right? In case of humanities, those programs who have gone to NCAA, they have been asked to work on it. The point is simple. Once you start doing it, you feel satisfied that this is what I claimed and this is what I did. But if you claim something and then you bring in so many excuses, that's not going to work. Yes, please.
Dr. Usmani?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Yeah. Referring to the exam questions and the table. Alright, so just now you said, say for example, I have 5 questions, and in this exam question, there are 5 questions belonging to 1.1. Okay, so I'm trying to match it up with the table. So each student, so let's look at the student and under question 1, 1.1, he gets 3 out of 4. Right?
Okay.
Okay, so just now when you said the questions should all be added and the average taken for that particular ILO, CLO 1.1. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm following you.
Yeah, so my question, where's that average that I should put? For each student, is that for each student or that's just the students?
Okay, do you have the copy of this assessment?
Which one?
Do you have some handout?
I have a table and I have the exam. I'm looking at the section 1 with 5 questions under 1.1.
Okay.
Okay, so and I'm looking at that table where this student gets 3 out of 4.
Okay.
Okay, so where's the average? I mean, so what do where are we looking at all of these questions as an average of that particular intended learning outcome?
Look, let's do it together. This is
Okay, thanks.
this is the copy of, say, student Ali, right? The name of Ali is there, his registration number is there, and in question 1 he scored 3, right? I did not do any calculation, I just picked his correct answer, number of correct answer, and I put them here, total, not average. See, there are 4 or 5 questions. I just take the total score of this student Ali and I put in front of his name. That's it. Does it make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. Okay.
Now,
And then?
now go to the second copy. And suppose this is student Abdullah. His score is 4. Out of 4, his score is 4. So in front of his name, I'll write down 4 in the next column, in the next line. Right? So what I'm doing, the way you prepare the scores of the students in the regular practice. What is your practice? You write the name of the students, right? And in front of the name, you write the total score of the students, right? So what I'm saying, that instead of writing the total score of all the questions, put it in breakup. Like in question 1, what is his total score? Question 2, what is his total score? To question 3, what is his total score? And then finally add them up as total, right? So if you see horizontally, the total is the total of the student. But from top to bottom, this is the score of a specific course learning outcome. It does not belong to one student, it belongs to the entire group of students. That is the point. Does it make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, yes, please.
How long did it take you to do this? This is it, right?
Yeah.
How will it take you, real time?
He said you don't have to have many assessment methods because it will take time.
This is 21 students, and I have my average classes, I have 10 hours, and I have average classes 35. And let me back up. So if my assessment going to be just one final, one midterm, and one quiz, that will not be acceptable. Because the final is 40 points, and you have to break down the 60 points into at least 2 midterms, and you can't put give a quiz 20 points. It would not make sense, right? So you have to devise like another method of assessment. If I'm going to do this means that I'm going to do this table at least 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 times. For 35 students, you need like an actual, real time. Did it take you like more than an hour?
Look at last map. Since we have this ability, of transfer, the list, from Excel straight, to your computer, and start with. So it won't take that much time. And if you're good at Excel, you could do it like in 30 minutes. You're done with things. Now, the question is actually
you are taking every student's question, you are putting in a box. So if you multiply those, like how many boxes? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, Excel will do it.
Right. So 10 times 21, that's 200. 200. Each one, like let's say, 5 seconds. 200 times, and that's I'm going to give you numbers.
Yeah.
This is 225 times 5 seconds. This is what actually you put if you are that quick.
Dr. Nidal, other programs, they have done that and they have been accredited.
Okay.
No, wait.
We talked to the
Wait, you see, the logistic is something that we can debate later on, right? The point is very simple. If I promise that your son will be able to swim at the end of the program, right? And later on, some parents come to you and say that, well, my son cannot swim. And you say, well, I have 200 students. I spend 2 minutes on every student, so I need 8 hours a day to train them. I don't have that much time. There comes the question, why did you promise? Did you get my point? If you promise on the paper, comply with it. No matter how difficult it is. Now you understood how to analyze it, revise it. Revise it, make it simple. Make it less. But the point is very simple. If you don't promise, nobody would ask. But if you say, this has to be, at the end of the course, student will be able to translate. Why did you make this promise? You promised on the 7th week this would happen. Why did you promise? And then when it comes to analysis, you say that I have got 200 students, so I cannot do it. The point is, I have seen individuals making Excel sheet automatic with the help of course, with their colleagues. What they do, they just put the name once, and every time they put the score, the computation is done at the bottom automatically. And it does not require rocket science. It requires simple calculation. Somebody who knows Excel can put formula. I've got a file with these formulas. What happens? You put this code, it computes automatically. If that is a problem, there is a software called TAP, Test Analysis Program. University of Hawaii, I think. Test Analysis Program. You put this code, you key in, and it computes the result for you. This is primarily for multiple choice, but you can use it for descriptive questions as well. Asking some of your students to key in the data, or if you don't have any such facility, then starting with one pilot. But the point is, since it is required, then there is no question of not doing it. The question is how to do it. That is the point.
The process is clear. It's simply once you have once you have the course specification, breaking down the domains and the outcomes, it's very simple.
Exactly.
Now we don't have it. It's number one. We don't have the course specification, the new plan, right?
No, we have it.
We have them?
Yes.
I got the 2015, and basically I saw like a copy and paste. It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah. See, so these are the logistic things. What are you going to do? I suggest, once these issues come, when everybody starts doing it, issues will come. Then department has to compromise on some mechanism. They will say, okay, instead of 5, make it 3. Or instead of 4, make it 3. Or conduct our final assessment only, final exam only. These are the logistics that you may carry out. But I suggest, before I conclude.
My actually major concern is when we try to extend this work, to cover all the assessment methods like the quizzes, symptoms, and final exam. That would be like a big issue. As far as the final exam is concerned, if this is the only way, to apply this to, then it would be a piece of cake. Now, when we include those other assessment methods, it becomes like
So taking your words, if it's a piece of cake.
Final?
No.
You should like generalize it.
Wait. If it's a piece of cake for the final exam, let's take another exam. So it will not be more than a piece of cake or less than a piece of cake. Any one of them. But the point is, the logistic is the decision of the department. I discussed with you the mechanism, and trust me, this is not Spanish or German that I am using. People are doing it. Just Google TOS and you will find out. I personally found a University of Auckland's course specification, and the professor had just ticked that I am going to assess 1.1 in this assessment, 1.2 in this assessment, 1.3 in this.